Admitting everyone in. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, welcome everybody.
Hi, thank you.
Do we have majority of folks?
Yeah, we can get started.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to the 2023-2026 Women's Foundation of Minnesota Girls Best Grant webinar. So for our next multi-year of funding, cohort 7. So this is a live captioning conversation. If you want to be able to use live captionings, click on the lower toolbox for your live captions. We are recording this meeting. And we will be able to send this out on our socials. And we encourage you also to drop questions in the chat so that way we can be able to answer them in a more timely fashion, but we will also be taking questions at the end of this conversation. So more to come. All right, so meet our amazing community impact team. So I am LaCora Bradford Kesty, she, her pronouns, and I am the Vice President of Community Impact here at the Women's Foundation. We also have the amazing Erica Idrovo Cuesta, our Program Officer, Hannah Elias, our Grants Manager, James Arroyo Miller, our Project Manager, and Elizabeth Salonga, our amazing Dr. Rita Clark King Fellow. And so I'll let them say, hey, hey.
Good morning, everyone. This is Erica. It's so good to be here, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. I echo those sentiments. Thanks so much for being here. It's great to be in community with you all today.
Thanks, team. So what are we going to do today? So we're going to offer information about the Women's Foundation of Minnesota. So you're going to also go deeper in understanding what is the Girls Best Fund. And then we're going to take you through review application components, the online web portal and process, and what that timeline looks like. And then again, answer any of your questions. So here's our amazing work. We got a new facelift at the Women's Foundation. You all know us. We use an intersectional equity framework when doing this work, and you can see in the top left corner what that looks like, using race, place, gender, and additional identities to center our work. And in this work, we are led by our mission, our vision, and our values that are flowing, right? They're flowing to our amazing, beautiful impact areas of leadership and community power, safety, economic justice, and holistic well-being. And how we flow and do that amazing work is through our brilliant levers of listening and research, advocacy and policy, our cross-sector partnerships, strategic communications, and then philanthropy and giving. And with our overall building, our goals is to build, inspire, grow, and transform. And so this is our big ecosystem at the Women's Foundation. So continuing to fund transformative futures for Minnesota's women, girls, and gender expansive folks. All right, y'all. So we're celebrating. We're still in, I feel like, in a celebration mode of Girls Best. So in 2002, the Women's Foundation of Minnesota launched the Girls Best Building Economic Success program, a grant making and public awareness program to build economic power of girls ages 12 to 18. And so in 2006, the foundation became the first to permanently endow a fund for girls. Let's give it up. And then last year, we celebrated 20 beautiful, amazing years of Girls Best, right? And that was shaped really by our research and listening to 14 communities around the state, which we're super proud about. And so girlsBEST was created to invest in girls as the best way to build opportunities and to boost their future economic success. So economic opportunity, right, is a key factor in increasing equity and justice for girls. It increases their safety, it improves their health outcomes, and impacts their access to leadership opportunities. So, right, we showed you in the ecosystem that intersectional equity framework, right? So using a race, place, and income lens, our goals was to really develop an ecosystem of change that was led by organizations serving girls across the state. And so this girlsBEST program engages low-income girls with an emphasis on girls of color, American Indian girls, and girls in greater and rural Minnesota, LGBTQ plus youth, and girls with disabilities. And so since we began in 2002, right, we've grown in our understanding of the importance of culturally relevant and specific programming, disability in staffing, financial literacy, multi-generational approaches, all of it, right? And so girlsBEST grantee partners, they really did share a vision of eliminating barriers that impact the girls' future economic success and developing leaders that were empowered to create change. So for amazing 20 years, girlsBEST participants have really shown us that they are the next generation of social change makers. And I want to highlight a couple of numbers while we're here in this 20-year stead, right? So since launching the program, the Women's Foundation has funded 6 beautiful cohorts of grantee partners with multi-year funding across the state. And so that's 394 planning and implementation grants. That's $5.1 million to 137 girl-led, girl-driven programs, and engaged over 45,000 young women and their families. I just want to give it up. And so speaking of these beautiful grantee partners, we have a short video just really highlighting one in particular, one that's been on the road with us for a while, which is Project Diva, and Nita Kellogg really leading the way. And so we wanted to show you a video of her brilliant organization and the girlsBEST work.
Project Diva is a personal and professional development organization for Black girls between the ages of middle school and high school. Project Diva's mission is to guide girls to self-discover without limits, and our focus areas are academics, social, emotional, financial, wellness, and careers. And then we interweave spirituality, and those are all behaviors that we focus on with our girls to ensure that they have a holistic guidance. My mother has catatonic schizophrenia, and her first bout with that was when I was a middle schooler. I had just turned 12. And I remember feeling very alone. No adults really asked me how I was actually doing. Being expected to be respectful, to get good grades, and to just move through life as if nothing happened was, when I look back on it, was a really big deal. And so once I became an adult, I wanted to make sure that girls were asked how they are doing. Project Diva was formed. The soil for Project Diva girls looks like her being able to come into the organization and feel like she's at home because she can totally be her authentic self and also walk in her personal truth. But whether she's with us for one time or whether she's with us for 8 years, as long as she walks away from that experience knowing what love feels like, we've reached success. The resources that the Women's Foundation has provided for us, especially with the Women and Girls Report every year, is like so helpful. I love the fact that they, number one, do their research on women and girls of all ethnicities. It's almost like when your big sister just look out for you, you know? It is extremely important to invest in young girls and young women early because they're ready. They are ready. We have had our elementary school girls start at 8. And when I say that they have ideas for entrepreneurship that are mind-blowing, they just need the support, it's unbelievable. So the earlier you invest, the sooner you could create an economy that makes sense for all of us. It's so funny because our young people they have the answers if we were to just listen to them. And so giving our girls that space to actually be asked the questions, presented with the issues, and then the space to be honest about how they feel about it is what makes Project Diva so special.
Shout out to Nita Kellogg and Project Diva. We just wanted to show you a little bit about that organization and the work of the girlsBEST program. And so I will turn it over to Erica Cuesta to run through the overview of the grant and then talk about our theory of change and how we see all of this work really in alignment to our overall mission.
Thank you, LaCora. And yes, I'm going to share with you all the request for proposal focus area for our girlsBEST new cohort 7. And so in this cohort, we're expanding our focus area to, we call it STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, math, and entrepreneurship. And we started this conversation last summer when we convened our current and former community partners from girlsBEST programming to really ask them what's their vision for this new cohort and what do they see as solutions to creating economic success for young women and girls. And they shared with us, to quote one of our community partners, was that it's not just to push girls towards STEM-related activities as the only worthwhile pursuits, right? When we support all girls and gender-expansive people, they're having greater autonomy to determine what economic success looks like for them. And so we're inviting Minnesota organizations and groups with majority serving girls programs to apply for multi-year funding that will support these different areas. And these grants range from $10,000 to $20,000 per year. And so these programs really are focused on continuing between the ages of 12 to 18 girls to increase their readiness to financial security and wealth and what that really means for them. These grants are multi-year grants that renew every year based on evidence of satisfactory progress towards your program goals and outcomes. And taking it back to really the roots and the context to how girlsBEST was shaped is the theory of change is what developed the entire programming and continues to be the center of the work. We have 3 stages that we've implemented for building that economic well-being for girls. And the first stage is to increase their awareness of systemic gender inequity that affects economic potential. This is super important to have that awareness. And as Project Diva shared, right, these girls have the answer and know what's happening right around them. The second stage is increased sense of agency to influence change through leadership. So promoting that is also one of the things that we're looking forward to seeing through the programming is increasing their agency. And then lastly, our third stage is increased capacity for individual and collective activism and advocacy. So all of these 3 stages work together that we've seen throughout our evaluation and we've seen through girlsBEST programming has really helped and support the impact and really the progress of girls through these kind of stages. Following those stages, we also have been tracking the program's overall type of support when tracking the impact and These are examples that we've came across through our listening and our research is program tracks. We call them program tracks. We have 4 different program tracks that we're looking for in this proposal. The first one is academic programs, and these are programs that help girls stay in school and pursue college and future career goals. These are also programs that build girls' personal financial skills, such as budgeting, financial planning, saving, and accounting. And then these can also be school-based programs that help girls excel in math, science, technology, and other subjects in which girls have been underrepresented or excluded. The second program track is entrepreneurial programs. These are programs that teach and support girls in business planning and development. That also can teach and support girls' understanding of financial systems for business development, including loans, grants, and credit. And then lastly, programs that teach sales, marketing, and communications for businesses. The third program track is employment development and high-paying, high-skill careers. These are programs that build girls' employment skills and or encourage them to seek high-paying and high-skill careers. These are also programs that help girls explore careers in construction and trades, math and science, healthcare, and production. And lastly, the fourth program track are public education and advocacy programs. These are programs in which girls organize issues that impact their economic opportunities and success, such as access to reproductive and family planning, sexual health, and ending violence. These can also be programs in which girls experience arts education that impact their self-esteem and cultural awareness, such as graphic design, videographies, storytelling, and music. And so these are the 4 program tracks, and we ask that you choose one or more, but at least one of these 4 program tracks that best describes your work with the girls in your programs. Grant type and eligibility. So like I shared, these are multi-year grants ranging from $10,000 to $20,000 per year. The average award is $15,000. For eligibility, organizations, these are organizations that are eligible. One is driving innovation and solutions that advance gender and racial justice by increasing access to economic justice in Minnesota. Organizations that are leading in programs operating in Minnesota and serve Black, Indigenous, women of color, and or gender expansive people. Programs that serve girls between the ages of 12 to 18 and are also serving low-income girls in Minnesota. Priority is given to organizations serving Black, Indigenous, and women of color who live in rural areas, identify as LGBTQ+ and or live with a disability. And then other eligibilities are being willing to submit a short learning evaluation at the end of the grant period. So every year, there's a commitment to follow through the evaluation learnings. Aligning with the Women's Foundation's mission and vision and core values of hope, generosity, courage, inclusion, and belonging. And then lastly, be prepared to speak about how you use a gender lens and intersectional lens in your programming and work. Organizations should apply if you are serving at least 50 to 75% women, girls, and gender expansive people. So this was a frequently asked question is, what if my program serves boys? You are still eligible to apply if your organization serves majority girls. And we ask that you write about the girls in your programs when you answer questions in your grant proposal. And then our definition of women is anyone who identifies as a woman. So the program is inclusive of gender, of transgender, non-conforming, gender non-binary, and all gender expansive people who experience gender-based structural harm. For criteria, the organization's financial condition is stable. Your organization can demonstrate ability to work in partnership with other organizations. Your organization has a commitment to gender and racial justice using a multi-issue, multi-solution framework. Your board members, staff, and volunteers are representative of the population served and are represented in decision-making roles in the organization. And there's inclusive values and perspectives and contributions of all people that strive to incorporate the needs and viewpoints of diverse communities in the design and implementation of programs. So eligible programs include nonprofit that are tax-exempt organizations and schools that operate programs in Minnesota, unincorporated organizations with a tax-exempt fiscal sponsor, and American Indian nations. Non-eligible programs or activities are scholarships to attend college, university, technical, or certificate programs, projects with within religious institutions that do not align with the mission and values of the Women's Foundation of Minnesota, retroactive supporter projects or activities, fundraising events, grants to individuals, organizations that may be deemed discriminatory based on race, creed, color, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender expression, age, physical or mental ability, veteran status, military obligation, immigration status, and marital status. An organization that limits or opposes a woman's right to self-determination, and any reduction of an operating deficit or existing debt or anything that's not good standing with the IRS are non-eligible. So these are the criteria and examples, and if there are questions, we can talk about that as well at the end. And then we have learning and evaluation. So this is a multi-year commitment, right? 3 years. And so for the program to continue being a success, we need your support to really share what you're observing, what you're noticing, what you're experiencing through this relationship with us in this grant. And we have a variation of options that we've tried and are also new to trying. Every year, we try our best to change the way our evaluation practice is made. And we will be gathering information in these different ways, either through a grant survey, evaluation survey, focus groups. So similar to last year, how we did a small gathering over Zoom, that was a form of evaluation. And then we've also done focused interviews with a few grantee partners. And so this would be the type of evaluation that we would share more how the process would work and what kind of commitment it looks like. But so far, this is what we've been doing as of now. And then because we've had 20 years of really great success in sharing the work that our grantee partners have shared with us, we also have been tracking the notable practices that these programs have succeeded in and have created to ensure the programming is a success. So these are just the definitions of what The evaluation survey or questions will be framed for financial literacy, leadership development, mentoring, building on cultural strengths, collaboration, multi-generational approach, and healing and wellness. So these were really shaped by the feedback that our partners shared with us and what we will be asked to continue tracking the impact of these programs. So more will be shared about how these will be asked in a either survey or convening once you receive more information about the grant. So that's how it's looking for now around learning and evaluation.
Thank you, Erica. I'll take the next couple slides to talk about the grant period and the application. And so, like Erica mentioned, this is a multi-year grant. The grant period will start June 26th and go through 2023 through June 26th of 2024. And usually we like to give folks a month to kind of close up the work, and then we will then send the evaluation in July. And so that's the grant period, June 26th to June 26th. For the full 3 years. For the selection process, we use a participatory grant making committee that is comprised of our young women, alumni, board, previous board members, grantee partners who have experience with this grant, community experts, donors, partners, and they all make up the amazing team that will be reviewing your applications and making decisions about what funds what organizations will be funded. We do a lot of extensive training with the team to prepare them on how to review applications. We talk about the IS, we talk about financials, and what's really most important when thinking about this work and overview. And then also the timeline for this, it's open, right? So the application process is open. We are having our amazing informational webinar today. The due dates for application, or the deadline, is May 1st. We will start notifying folks for a site visit meeting mid-May. We'll invite folks to those site visit days, so save the dates for Thursday, June 8th and Friday, June 9th from 12 to 4, because those will be the dates for site visits. And then we'll make the announcement in June, mid-June, about who was selected for the 7th cohort of the girlsBEST Fund. And then again, as I said, dates for the evaluation will then happen mid-July for the work. All right, let's talk about this application, because we put a lot of time in it to really simplify it, take some things out that doesn't make sense, put some really good things into it of really like what's most important to capture. And so it's going to be your organizational information, a project description, some demographic work, and then some attachments like financial stuff, board things, staff lists, etc. So that's what's going to make up your overall application. And here are some of the pieces of what that looks like. So again, name, org, mailing info, really the contact information, who the program officer will be working with. And then also this is the time to like make your request of how much on average, and the award is $15K. If you're going to go on to the higher end range of what the grant is proposed, so $20K, you are required to use all of that funding by the end of the grant cycle. And now the questions that we're going to be asking in the application. So one is pretty basic, really describe your organization's missions, goals, your major programs, and their participants. This really gives the committee a really good sense of like who the organization is, what do you stand for, your values, things like that. And then two, you're going to describe which program track or tracks that best fit the girlsBEST programs, and just choose one. Please don't choose all of them is my worry. Don't choose all of them, but you can choose more than one. that best fits your work. And then also describe the girls and the gender expansive people who will be involved in your program, including their age, geographic location, race, ethnicity, economic background, to the best of your ability, because sometimes we just don't know, right? So to the best of your ability, just describe, who these young people are, and then describe the outcomes you anticipate during your 1-year period and how you plan to measure what that success looks like. And we have an optional question, if applicable, to describe outcomes you have achieved with your girlsBEST grants, or how has your program evolved in building girls' economic well-being, really trying to capture impact stories of why this work is really important. So if you have an amazing impact story, please share it with us. And then lastly, during an anticipated 3 years of the girlsBEST Fund, how will your program move through the girlsBEST theory of change in the following areas? And when we were thinking about the theory of change, going from awareness to agency to advocacy, right to that action piece, like please talk about like how you see your program, taking girls through a process of awareness, or if you're not even quite there yet, your dreams of how this could look or what this looks like. All of above are welcome for that response. And now I will pass it over to Hannah to talk about the demographics, attachments, and the portal, and how to actually like get your information into our system.
Awesome. Thank you, LaCora. I'm going to admit someone from the waiting room. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our demographic survey. So a part of the RFP is a demographic survey. The information collected with our demographic survey helps us evaluate proposals by understanding the communities served by the organizations that we are funding and the ways the programming is responsive to community-specific needs. We do ask that when you're filling out our demographic survey that you provide us with numbers, like hard data, not percentages, not yes, we do serve these individuals, no, we don't. Just actual numbers is really what is best for us. Also, the first 2 questions of the demographic survey are a total number of individuals served by the organization, and then a total number of individuals served by the program that you are requesting funds for. So we do ask to see both the total number of individuals you're working with your organization, as well as then, a more detailed picture of the number of individuals that are going to be served by this funding in the program that you are specifically requesting funds for. And then we kind of go through all of these different demographic areas: gender identity, race and ethnicity, income level, where do, geographic location, where do participants live, other characteristics, and age group. We ask for demographic information for all of those, and we do ask that the numbers that you're providing there try to sum up to the total number of individuals being served by the program versus the total number of individuals being served by the organization. And we also do have in our instructions in the demographic survey that if you're not serving certain people, that's okay. We just ask that you put a 0. We're just trying to get data for learning what we're, funding. And again, we'll have time for questions at the end of this if any of this doesn't make sense. I know it's a lot of information. So that's our demographic survey. And then the final thing that we do ask for in the RFP are attachments. You'll see that anything with a star next to it is required. So our participatory grant making committee does want to know, have some high level idea about your organizational budget and your year-to-date income and expense statement. So we do ask for those 2 things. We also do need, for our auditing purposes, for our auditors to make sure that your organization is in good standing with the IRS. So we request that we have your most recent 990 that you filed with the IRS. And if you are not yet an established 501c3, then we need your fiscal sponsor's most recent 990. We also want to recognize that there are new 501c3s who have requested funding from us before, and they have not yet had to file a 990 because they're new. So in that case, we also do offer the option to upload your IRS determination letter. And there's more details about that in the attachments in the RFP, but that is also an option if you have not yet filed your first 990 with the IRS. If you are being fiscally sponsored, we do ask that you provide us with a documented fiscal sponsorship agreement. If you don't have anything documented like that, please reach out to me while you're filling out the RFP, just because we do need some sort of actual documentation to attach to the grant record. Again, for our auditors, I know, a lot of red tape. I didn't make the rules. So we also need a current W-9 form, which is pretty basic information. You know, it's your organization's name, address, EIN, that sort of thing. And we do have blank W-9s that you can fill out if you need to. And I'm always happy to walk people through how to fill out a W-9. I know that sometimes it can be really overwhelming. Always available to answer questions about that. And then we also require staff information. So we need a list of the project and program staff, and a brief description of their professional backgrounds. I see LaCour laughing at me. I just got back from a conference, everybody, so my brain is like, woo! And then we also require a list of current board members, including the ethnic and racial and gender demographic information of your board of directors or governing body. So those are two required things as well. And with that, I will start talking about our grants portal. Some of you may be familiar with this, some of you might not. So if you've never applied for a grant with us, before, you are going to have to create an account in our grants portal. You'll see the link to register at the bottom of the screen here. It's called the Spectrum portal, also called the Foundation Cloud Community portal. And I will share my screen after this slide and just kind of walk through it with you. But essentially, we just need first-time users to register. And we do ask that you create an account days in advance. Like, I would recommend that once this webinar is done, just go on down to this link, the wfmn.spectrumportal.net, and just register your account right away. The reason we ask this is because we do need to review and approve your account before you can actually have access to the portal. So we do ask that you give us a couple days to do that, 1 to 2 business days. So again, we highly recommend not trying to register the May 1st right before everything is due, because we might not be online in the evening of that day. Our host site, NPACT, they have recommended that if you're using this portal, you use Google Chrome or Firefox as your browser. Another important note is that when you are filling out this profile information on our portal, when you get to this note that says select your portal access, you're going to want to select grant applicant. You are applying for grants on behalf of an organization. And as Erica mentioned, this is not for individuals, so individuals are not eligible. So you don't want to click that first option that says individual applicant. You're applying on behalf of an organization, so make sure to click grant applicant. And then, as always, once you're done filling out all of that information, you'll want to make sure to click that box that says I accept the terms and conditions before you select register. And like I said, I will go ahead and share my screen so I can just walk you through the process a little bit and you can see live how it goes. Let's see. Yes. All right. Okay. Is everybody able to see what I'm sharing? It looks like it. Well, Cora's shaking her head.
Yes.
Some are nodding, I suppose. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so here is your sign-in screen. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm going to be looking over at my other screen. That's why I'm not looking directly at you. So this is our sign-in screen for our portal. So this is where you would sign in if you already had access, if you already have an account. If you don't, You'll just go down here to this link that says register, and it's going to take you to this screen where you're going to create an account for yourself. First, you're creating your account information, as in you as the person on behalf of your organization is filling in information about yourself. So you can do your first name, last name. Again, anything with a star is what's required. You'll create your password. You can create a password hint. And then, like I mentioned, here you've got that portal access question. So you're going to select grant applicant. And once you do, this organization information is going to populate at the bottom of the screen. It is very possible that maybe somebody, a past or previous employee at your organization, created their own account for your organization. So you are welcome to search our database here to see if your organization is already in our database. So you can click on this here. I do recommend typing in your organization's full name rather than, the beginning of it. You're way more likely to get exactly what you're looking for if you do that. So I'm searching for the Women's Foundation of Minnesota. There we are. So I can go ahead and select that. And then instead of filling out any contact information, you can just select this button here that says copy from organization, and some of that stuff will auto-populate for you. You still want to fill out your own primary phone number. You can give a phone type, all of that fun stuff. But that's basically the gist of creating an account here. And then once you're done, you'll click register. And I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll stop sharing. Okay. And we'll go back to our PowerPoint so I can show you more about what the portal looks like once you've registered in there. So once you've put in all of that information, this is the message you'll see on your portal home screen. And again, it's just reiterating that information I said earlier about how it will probably take us 1 to 2 business days to review and approve your account access. I try to be as quick as possible, but there's a lot of stuff going on. So this is what will come up while you're basically waiting for me to approve. And if I'm not approving, it'll be Erica. One of the two of us will get in there and approve. So once we've gone in and reviewed and approved, you'll get an email from one of us saying that you're ready to access the portal and you can access the girlsBEST RFP. And then you can log into the portal. And I'm just going to quickly go through a couple different ways you can find that RFP in the portal. There are basically 2 different options. So once you are on your grant applicant home screen, in the top right corner, there will be this drop-down menu that says grant applicant. The first thing you can do is click home. It'll take you to your grant applicant homepage, and there will be a tile right at the kind of middle point that says featured applications, and that will have any open applications available as a link to click on. So you can find it there on your homepage under featured applications. Or option 2, you can go again to that grant applicant drop-down menu, and instead of going to home, you can just go to the link that says available grants. And that's going to take you to another page on the portal that is just going to list all open and available grants. And that will list the girlsBEST RFP as well. So a couple different ways to access the grant application. And then once you get there, you'll just start filling it out, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, the organization information, the proposal questions, the demographic survey, the attachments, and all that fun stuff. And with that, I believe I hand it back on over to Erica.
Thanks, Hannah. So yeah, that's the request for proposal. There's also a PDF version of the request for proposal on our grants website. We can drop that in the chat for you all. So all the information is accessible in a PDF. So you could start working on it and then have that information ready when you want to submit it all online. So like LaCora shared the timeline, our due date for the proposal is Monday, May 1st by 11:59 p.m. And like Hannah shared, we will not be working at 11:59 p.m. So please have your registration done before that date. Have really all of the information that you need before that date so that you don't miss the deadline. And then all materials must be completed by that date. That includes the financial documents and all the survey information for the demographics. And then if there are any questions with the grant portal, you can reach out to Hannah. Here's her email. And you can also reach out to me with any program related questions. And we also are doing community office hours. LaCour and I are meeting virtually. And so you're welcome to schedule a meeting with us and really talk more about what you have in mind for this proposal. We will drop in the chat that link as well to meet with us. But yes, it is open, it is live. You should be able to access it. And if there are any questions, please let us know. I think now we can open it up for questions. I'm gonna stop the recording.
And if you have a question that's more personal,